This is the Getting Started with Markdown video. Before watching this video, please watch the previous What is Markdown video, located in the introduction section of this article. I would also suggest visiting commonmark.org. CommonMark, much like Daring Fireball, provides a brief history of Markdown as well as a couple of tutorials. On the front page, you'll see the Learn Markdown in 60 Seconds link. This takes you to a breakdown of the main parts of Markdown syntax. This guide lets you jump right into playing around with Markdown. I would suggest, however, completing CommonMark's full Markdown tutorial first, accessible via this link at the top of the page. I like this tutorial for a couple of reasons. The tutorial is broken down into lessons, all of which you can see on the right side of the page. You can complete the tutorial straight through, but you can also select a specific lesson and jump right to it. This is useful for refreshers. Each lesson covers one aspect of Markdown syntax, broken down into explanations and then active practice. There are also hints for whenever you get stuck. Lastly, the CommonMark tutorial doesn't require any sign-up or login information. You just click Lesson and get started. The tutorial says it takes about 10 minutes, but in my experience, it runs a little closer to 20. Take some time to go through this tutorial, as it does give you a great comprehensive knowledge of Markdown syntax. Now, though, we're going to get into using Markdown. Let's head over to Stack Edit. You'll see I've already created a page using a blog post I created for one of my early modern English courses. This post was originally written in a WYSIWYG program. I then transferred the text to Stack Edit and formatted it using Markdown. I formatted my title as a header. I included my university's website. I added some emphasis for titles and important words. I even added a reference. You'll also notice that I added a little bit of HTML right here. Centering text is not available in basic Markdown, but the beauty of Markdown is that because it is a markup language, more complex coding can be added to it. This lets you create more dynamic pages as you get more comfortable with Markdown and web design. Go ahead and try writing your own Markdown text, web text, blog post, review, etc. After you're finished, scroll over to the right and click on the white box with the hashtag. This toggles the sidebar. What we're going to do now is export this web text. So let's click on Import Export. You'll see you have a lot of options for exporting your web text. You can export as Markdown. This gives you the raw Markdown text, but we want to export this as a web page, so we'll click Export as HTML. Now, Stack Edit has a couple of templates built in. You can also configure these templates or add new templates by clicking the Configure Templates link here. For now, though, we're just going to stay with the styled HTML. So let's export our web page. Click OK. And the download should begin immediately. Click on it, and there we go, a nice, clean web page. Now, your file may end up in your Downloads folder, depending on your settings. I suggest moving it to your desktop or saving it in another folder. This is the end of the Getting Started video. In the next video, we'll get into some more advanced Markdown, but for now, feel free to keep playing with Markdown and creating your web text.